Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Just Say Guay. I'm your host, George Guay. I hope you enjoyed my last interview with Tate Boyce. I am now bringing on another guest. I am bringing on Julian Gressel, who is a midfielder for Atlanta United FC. He has won Rookie of the Year in the past and is coming off of a championship with his team. He also played soccer at Providence College for 4 years, and I'm happy to have him on. Let's get him on the phone and ask some questions. Just take a second.
Hello.
Hey, Julian, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good, thanks. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
No worries. Let me get it set up finally.
Of course. I also got to give a thanks to Colin Miller for hooking it up. So just introduce yourself to the show, please. Who you are, where you're from, what team you're on, what position you play, maybe some teams you've played on in the past. What's going on with you?
Okay, so I'm Juian Gressel, originally from Germany. Have been in the U.S. now for almost 7 years. Currently am playing for Atlanta United in MLS. And I got drafted here 2.5 years ago. Played at Providence College before. I've really been enjoying this pro ride so far.
Okay, it definitely seems like there's been a lot of success with winning Rookie of the Year a couple years ago and definitely the championship. So as of right now, Atlanta United FC stands fourth place in the East when I last checked the standings. What do you think you individually and also the team can improve on as the summer goes on and before the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, we've obviously had a bit of a tough start to the season, especially in MLS, with a really tight schedule because coming off a championship year last year, and the coaching change and some player changes, we knew that it was going to be a tough start. But I think we've kind of rattled and we found a bit of a stride as of late and picked up some points. So I think it's just really continuing to work within the team, with the new coaching staff, and all that for the new season, and then I think we'll be okay for the rest of the year. We'll be able to hopefully make the playoffs, and then the playoffs are a different season again. So we'll kind of see how far we can take it then.
Yeah, it's definitely good that you guys are hitting your stride after all those challenges. So I see this a lot in basketball recently with the Golden State Warriors, obviously with the Patriots. And the Red Sox are experiencing it now with the start that they didn't expect to have. Do you think there's a difference now that it seems like since you won the championship, you guys are now the people that are being hunted as opposed to hunters? Do you think it's a different kind of game because it seems like when you watch the Warriors play or the Patriots, every game they get the other team's best shot?
Yeah, I definitely think that's the case. I think that ever since now they came into the league, they drew a lot of fans, and we spent a lot of money on players, and we're doing things that other teams just weren't doing. So you always had that target on your back. But now even more so, obviously, after you win a championship and you've really been the best team over the past 2 years, everybody wants to beat you, and you're always going to get the best out of everybody week in and week out. And that's a tough position to be in, but we knew that coming into the year, and then we said it before the season, that it's a good thing to be in this position as well, because that means you are one of the best teams, and you really have a good group together. So it's just a matter of showing that week in and week out, and expecting the best from your opponents.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it happens in all sports, as you mentioned. Now, what has it been like to achieve so much personal success and team success so early? I mean, you went so high in the draft. You win Rookie of the Year your first year in, and then your second year you take home the championship, especially in a city where soccer has become very popular. What's it been like to achieve so much in such little time?
It's been a lot of fun for me to come in, get drafted, and then immediately have an impact on the team, immediately have playing time, and then ultimately, winning a couple of individual awards and team. The most important thing is new award, obviously winning MLS Cup. But it's been fun, you know. It's been a dream come true, certainly. And I also don't want to take anything for granted. And I know I've worked hard, you know, to get to this point and have this impact and then be drafted and all those kind of things. So I know that I've worked for this and it didn't just come from nothing. But yeah, like I said, it's been a lot of fun, and I hope obviously to continue it for a few more years. Hopefully, we can collect some more trophies.
Of course, that would definitely be awesome, and I'm sure you will at the rate you guys are going. Now, obviously, you were a big contributor on the championship team, being one of the top midfielders in the team. What were some of the things that you wanted to work on in the off season? So, you know, by that time comes in the playoffs, you guys can go back to back. I mean, you know, every athlete always feels like they have something to work on when they go into the off season.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it was big from the first to the second year for me. So going into the championship year, I really worked on my fitness. I worked on my body. I worked on strength and everything like that. Just because I knew what a long season it would be, you know, in MLS. And now this past off season, after winning the championship, there really wasn't a lot of time to do a lot of work. You know, we finished the season with the MLS Cup, I think December 9th, and started preseason in January, late January. So there really wasn't much time to really work on certain elements. I also got married in the off season, so I was pretty busy off the field as well. But you know, you always reflect on the year and how you've done personally and what you think you need to improve on. For me, I think it was just obviously getting used to a new coach, you know, and we knew a new coach was coming in, so kind of getting the mindset of the new coach and kind of feeling him out, and then, you know, kind of just evolving the game where, you know, you can always get better in every aspect of the game, where if it's defensively, if it's 1v1, if it's, you know, offensively, of creating more and playing, you know, better with you forward or whatever it was, you know. But in terms of actual training, it was really tough to do this past off season just because there was only like five solid weeks of time off where you really needed it after that long of a season. So I really just focused on getting the rest and getting my body just to recover from a tough year, so then be ready to go again in the following.
Yeah, I think that's something that I think fans don't realize is how little time you have when you win a championship, how you really have to get focused in such little time. I mean, I think people really are starting to understand that now, since, I don't know, you probably saw with the Golden State Warriors, you know, they've been to the finals 5 straight years, and, you know, their bodies just broke down. That's ultimately cost them the championship. I think people are starting to see that now. Do you agree?
For sure. Especially, you know, we have very long seasons here in MLS where, like I said, we get 5 weeks off, you know, at the end of the year, and then the preseason starts ready for the new year. So it was definitely, the focus was on that for me 100%, just because I knew that last year took a lot out of me, and then this year will as well. You know, early on we played pretty quickly. We played in CONCACAF Champions League and had some international travel, and obviously MLS started the game. So we knew that this year was probably even going to be tougher than the last year from a physical standpoint.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to get into how MLS has grown over the last few years. There's no doubt how popular it is in Atlanta. I mean, you guys fill up that stadium in the playoffs, and obviously in the regular season, it's like the same crowd as a Falcons game. What do you think has led to that, and, you know, MLS becoming so popular in Atlanta and other cities as well? It seems like since I was a little kid, it's definitely made huge jumps.
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta has really embraced us, you know, in a really special way. It's been a lot of fun, you know, going to games, playing in front of 45 or 70,000. It's incredible. It's an incredible feeling, and I think the city has just really wanted a soccer team. You know, there's just a lot of soccer fans in the city that used to support, if it's Premier League teams, if it's Bundesliga teams, if it's La Liga teams, you know, kind of over in Europe, and then they didn't really have anything to root for here in Atlanta. And yeah, Arthur Blank had an idea, and then he made that happen. And, you know, all of a sudden now you have all these soccer fans that, just are in the city and that now have something to stand behind and to root for. formed and was announced, and you have a great owner that stands behind it with just as much money as he does for the Falcons, with investing money, with having a clear idea behind the message you want to send to the fans of what you want from you, what your image is as a club, and all those kind of things where people can really get behind, and then really have a clear message. And then ultimately, we started winning, and that's probably the biggest thing where we started winning games and more and more fans. I hear stories so much where people are like, I wasn't a soccer guy, or I wasn't a soccer, follower, and now I absolutely love it. I love it more than going to Falcons games. I love it more than going to basketball games. So it's definitely a cool thing where people come up to you and say that. And then obviously for me, that I've been a part of that.
Yeah, winning definitely helps for sure, and hopefully that that growth can definitely spread across the United States. I mean, I think it's kind of hard in Boston because we have so many teams that win every year. We're very spoiled, and it's hard with New England with the Revolution because we're the Patriots. But another question I have to ask on popularity. I mean, when I was a kid, the two big stars that came here were Thierry Henry and David Beckham, and they went to really big market cities. Even though, LA is a basketball town and New York is football and basketball, it still helped the popularity of the sport. Do you think guys like Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Wayne Rooney coming over from overseas has helped the sport grow a bit because you got so many big name, because those are two big name guys?
Yeah, for sure. It definitely still helps to grow on a global standpoint. And I think the hype, especially for Zlatan, was absolutely huge. But the thing that stands out to me always is that these guys, they come over and they don't just sit around. They actually are coming in to work hard and actually perform. They actually have to be at a high quality still in order to be able to play in this league, which is a tribute to the league and a tribute to owners and teams really getting the quality of play to a level where it's not just enough to come over as a 38-year-old almost retired star to kind of just play another couple of years. No, these two, especially these two guys, they've come in and they've worked hard and they've have to play good in order to be still scoring goals and still being one of the top performers.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully, more guys come over and it increases that popularity. So obviously you have to throw in a few Providence College questions since you weren't there not too long ago. I never thought about this, but I had an interview with Coach Lehman a few months ago, and I was wondering if this applied to you when I was making the questions. A lot of guys who come from Sweden, Russia, Finland, guys, Kasper Björkqvist, for example, who plays at Providence College. One of the draws of playing at schools like here, Boston College, Boston University, is that it's not too far from home. I was wondering what drew you to play at Providence College, and was the proximity a factor as well?
For me, it was about kind of combining school and soccer. That was more the general idea behind going to the U.S. To study at the same time as playing soccer at a high level. That gives me then a chance to become a professional if it happens. If it doesn't, I would have had a degree to fall back on and probably would have been fine in the work space. So that was kind of the idea of me coming to the U.S. in general, and then with Providence, I thought it was just the best fit for me, in a way to where I just, obviously loved the area. I love Boston. I thought the coach, the soccer program was great. They were really interested in me as a player, and it just felt like a good fit. Obviously going through the whole recruiting process and stuff. So that's why I was really interested in Providence, and that's ultimately why I ended up there as well.
Yeah, it seems like it was a great decision. You made a great impact on the program, and I was wondering in what ways you think the program has grown since you first got there? I mean, you guys were playing on that tiny field, Hendricken, and then you moved your way over to Chapley Field, Anderson Stadium, and you made a run to, I believe it was the Final Four, and won a Big East championship. I still, kind of cringe when I see those highlights of what you guys did to Maryland when you guys were down, and it seemed like the game was over, and you just kept fighting. And I feel like that was one of those games that put Providence on the map for soccer. And I was wondering, what ways have you seen it grown since you first got there?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely come a long way from playing on that side of the grass field and I'm getting a stadium, and all those kind of things. And that's really the vision. The coach has relayed to me and has asked me to believe in when he recruited me. And he had said that. He's feeling good about the future, and even though back then when I decided to come, I think the record and everything wasn't that great, but I believed in him, and I think that belief kind of paid off. Where we've got some good players. They've obviously done a ton more investing in the program, and that shows. The Final Four run in my sophomore year was absolutely incredible. Well, we won the Big East and then made it to the Final Four in the NCAA tournament. Really should have gone on to win a national title. I think we were the best team that year. It was a lot of fun to be a part of that, and a lot of fun to really do all this for the first time in school history. And to really, just grow the program. And that's something that I'll always look back on and then be proud of. So I, obviously hope that the success will continue, and then the program will be on the map for quite some time.
Yeah, I really think the school has appreciated it, especially guys like Coach Stewart, Bob Driscoll, Father Shanley. It's really turned into a successful program. And before we go, I have one more question. I've always wondered, what's the dynamics like in terms of being a student athlete compared to a pro athlete? Because obviously, when you're a student athlete, you got kind of two responsibilities. But obviously, I feel like when you're a professional athlete, it's your whole life, and I think it definitely outweighs the two of them combined, especially when you have a whole city depending on you. I was wondering if you could touch upon the comparisons between being a student athlete and a pro athlete.
Yeah, I mean, it's very different, obviously, and in Providence, like you said, you go to school, and then you go to training where soccer is almost a bit secondary, And now, ever since I came to Atlanta, everything is, it's soccer and that's it, like you do, everything you do is geared towards you performing either in practice or in games. Like if you train in the morning and you have the afternoon off, like you can't just go out and, do whatever in the heat, like go lay out by the pool or whatever, where those kind of things can just come in the way of you performing, because ultimately you're evaluated by your performances, and as a team, you obviously, like you said, have a pretty, big, not target, but like you're in the focus a lot more than it was at Providence. So in those kind of areas, definitely a lot different. I enjoy the life a lot. I love to be a soccer pro. I've worked hard for this my whole life, and it's been a lot of fun so far. But I also love the time at Providence. I think it really gave me a chance to grow as a person, to expand my horizon, to become the person that I am today, and then to really prepare me also for this life now, as a pro, where you can really, take easier steps going into the pro life, where you can do the right things, and you can learn how to pay as a pro and all those kind of things already, and that's, it was really big for me, and it's been, like I said, a great time in Providence, and then, equally as a great time as a pro. I've really enjoyed this time so far.
Yeah, I think that's a very good answer, and I appreciate you touching upon that. And I also appreciate you coming on this show. Thank you, Julian. Hope all goes well the rest of the season, and have a good one.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks so much.
All right, have a good one.